Hello, my name is Bruce Hutchinson. Welcome to my 3 observations on the movie Ex Machina, written and directed by Alex Garland. If you're watching this on YouTube, please go to thehutchfiles.com to get the full breakdown of Ex Machina. You can also find a lot of my other breakdowns, information on my films, and you can also subscribe to get future posts sent directly to your inbox. So let's go ahead and dive into the narrative structure of Ex Machina. All 3 of my observations today are built around one central question, and that is, who is the protagonist of the movie? Ex Machina has all kinds of great and interesting things about it, but one of the really fascinating things about the narrative structure of the movie is the way it sets up a protagonist and then kind of at the end of the movie displays to us that maybe the person who we thought was the protagonist is not actually the protagonist after all. As the movie starts, we meet what seems to be our main character, Caleb, and I'll call him our nominal protagonist. We are aligned with him through much of the first 2/3 of the movie. We start with him. The initial inciting incident happens to him. The setup is that he wins a contest where he is able to go to Nathan's compound and participate in a Turing test of an AI that is housed in an android body named Ava. Once he gets to the compound, we get the inciting incident payoff, which is him meeting Ava. And so as he goes through Act 1, he is pursuing this goal of participating in the Turing test. Can he distinguish Ava from an actual human being or not? At the end of the first act, Ava warns him not to trust Nathan, and that sets up our Act 2 goal, which is for Caleb to decide whether or not he trusts Ava. Over the course of the second act, he decides that he does, and in the third act, he decides to help Ava escape because he thinks that Nathan is mistreating her. All of this makes perfect sense, and we can really see a structure built around the movie level goal and the act level goals that Caleb has. But the one thing that Caleb seems to be missing is a strong internal goal. Caleb seems to have a lot of little internal goals. At times he wants to prove himself to Nathan. At other times he actually questions his own humanity, and that seems to almost be an internal goal. And of course, he does almost seem to have an internal goal of whether he is in love with Ava or not. But a lot of that is really just tied into his external goal of deciding whether he trusts her, how he feels about her, and whether he wants to help her. So while he seems to be providing a structure for us, he largely seems to be missing kind of the internal goal that we often look for when we have a protagonist. So we can move to our second observation, which is that Ava actually is our secret protagonist. Ava not only has the internal goal that Caleb is missing, she also has external goals, and she has a relationship goal. She actually has 3 different goals in the movie, and they work in sort of interesting ways. Ava has an inciting incident, which of course is meeting Caleb. We don't know, but we might guess that Ava has actually rigged the contest so that Caleb will win. At first, we think it's Nathan that's done this, but it's also possible that Ava has done this in order to pick the person most likely to help her escape, help her achieve her goals. At the end of the act, she has decided, it seems, that Caleb is someone that she can manipulate into helping her escape, and so she tells Caleb not to trust Nathan, and this sows the seeds of doubt. If the Act 2 goal is for Caleb to figure out how he feels about Ava, we can also flip that around and see how Ava's goal is to manipulate Caleb into liking her, potentially into falling in love with her, certainly into trusting her enough to agree to help. At the end of Act 2, start of Act 3, Caleb's goal of helping her escape can also, of course, be seen from Ava's perspective, which is to actually escape, to enact her plan in order to escape Nathan's compound. So all of the external goal acts and climaxes that we see for Caleb, we can turn around and also see for Ava. Interestingly, I think she also has an internal goal and a relationship goal, which are really, really important to the success of the external goal. The big thing that Caleb is there for is to see if she can pass the Turing test, to see if she can pass as human. And I think this is Ava's internal goal. She has to try to pass for human. She has to convince Caleb that she is human enough or seems human enough that he is going to become invested in her emotionally. If she can, that is, if she can succeed at this internal goal of passing for human, she can then succeed at her relationship goal. And the relationship goal is to get Caleb to fall in love with her. She seems to succeed at doing that. And in doing so, of course, this leads to him deciding to help her, which leads to her success in her external goal, which is to escape Nathan's compound. Now, the interesting thing about her internal goal compared to a lot of other internal goals is that usually we see the internal goal as a meaningful goal. That is, if a character has a goal inside of themselves, the whole idea is that this goal is important to them, it's important to us, it provides emotional resonance and meaning in the movie. What's interesting about Ava's internal goal of becoming human is it's not really clear whether this is important to her. Does she truly want to be human? Does she think it's important to have the qualities of a human being, to feel what it's like to be a human being, to pass as a human being? Are these truly important to her, or are they simply important to her in order to help her get Caleb to fall for her and then help her escape? So this internal goal is kind of interesting. It's maybe not the way we normally expect internal goals to work. However, we might also say that Ava truly does want to be human. I think the movie leaves that a little unclear. Our third observation has to do with our third character, and that is Nathan. And one of the really clever ways that the movie kind of sets up Caleb as our protagonist and then substitutes Ava as our protagonist is by creating Nathan as an antagonist for both characters. So both Caleb and Ava are tied together in their dislike at minimum, at maximum, perhaps even hatred of Nathan as the antagonist. So Nathan serves this really important purpose in terms of Caleb. He's rude to Caleb, he mistreats Caleb. Of course, he seems to have a drinking problem, and so his behavior is affected by that as well. And overall, we can see that as the movie progresses, Caleb trusts Nathan less and less, partly because of Ava's promptings, but also because Nathan is a pretty big jerk to him. Of course, Nathan as an antagonist for Ava is a lot more clear. She is basically a test subject and a prisoner of Nathan's, and if he deems her not to be advanced enough as an AI, he will simply erase her, reset her, and start over, which means that Ava's very survival is dependent on being able to escape, specifically with Caleb's help. So Alex Garland does a really fantastic job of setting up one character as a protagonist and kind of getting aligned with him, but then sort of swooping in and making us understand that all along Ava has been the protagonist and she is the one that we're aligned with and rooting for as the movie ends. And then, of course, all of this is sort of aided and put together by creating a shared antagonist in the character of Nathan. So those are my three observations about the narrative structure of Ex Machina. I hope you got something out of it, and that, of course, you are a fan of the movie and got a little more insight into the way the movie works. Thanks.